Good morning and welcome back to Miniature Monday, although temporarily appearing on a Thursday with Gaming with ADHD. Today we are taking a look at the ComStar Command Level II for Battletech from Catalyst Game Labs. Now, if you have watched any of my previous videos, I do apologize for you having to listen through yet another introduction of why I like these miniatures. But, bear with me. There are some new people coming in. So, to start off, I do want to say I have always been a big fan of the technical readout series of source books, containing hundreds of pages of rules for the big stompy robots that the game is known for. The books were presented as an in-universe guide to military hardware. Now, on the pages of these books, you would find an artist rendition of the particular mech, and using sort of like technical line drawing, sort of like concept sketches, it kind of simplified art. But they have evolved over time and gotten to the much more detailed, action-oriented art that we see today. Now, because the game does not technically require any figures to play, the art was, essential so that you kind of had that image of the giant robot that you were going to be piloting into battle. So, now, miniatures have always been a part of the game, even if they weren't required. In fact, from the earliest edition, Battle Droids, the game did include miniatures to play the game with. And in later editions, when they switched to cardboard standees, miniatures were made available to replace those that you could, and you could purchase them separately. And a lot of times you had to assemble them, you would have to paint them, or you wouldn't have to, you don't have to paint them, obviously. But, they did require assembly. and so over time, they've gotten a little bit dated. So, in 2019, Catalyst Game Labs ran the Clan Invasion Kickstarter to help expand their line of pre-assembled plastic miniatures, and one of these sets is the ComStar Command Level II. Now, this set includes 6 mechs from basically the Star League era. So, there's the Inner Sphere mechs, and those are kind of like common Inner Sphere mechs at the time of the Clan Invasion. There are the Clan mechs, typically Omni mechs or more advanced type mechs that the Inner Sphere did not have access to. But there is a middle ground, because the Inner Sphere did sort of bomb its technology out of existence, and but there were some surviving designs, and so Catalyst put those into the 2 ComStar boxes. There's this one and another one that we'll take a look at. And so the reason that I'm taking a look at these miniatures, though, I mean, you're probably thinking there's a window. We've seen, pictures of the figures online. Why bother making this video? Well, going back to the technical readouts, basically, I thought it would be interesting to go and look at the art that inspired the mechs, some of which is, close to 30 years old now, and, basically compare that to the how the art has evolved compared to the miniatures that were just released. So, with that said, I do have a setup. You'll be able to get a 360 view of the miniature, and I'll go through the art that came, or that matches up to the figure. Now, because some of these are older mechs, I have a lot of art this time. It was actually kind of crazy how much is available for these mechs, how many times they have been reimagined. And so before we get started, do make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I'm putting out a couple of these videos each week, until I get all of them released. And so if you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, that way you'll be notified when a new one comes out. But I do also cover a few other things on the channel, from board games, miniature games. So if you find anything else interesting, love to have you along. So With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. And, first off, we'll open up the box, which is... So this is obviously one of the bigger sets. We've got our cards. Now, real quick, I want to look at this art. This is great. This is a Highlander that they've put in the back. And it looks like I want to say a thug there on the right. So I really like how they've done this art. Because they've got this big window, instead of putting a piece of art, on the front, they put it inside the box. I think it was a really nice touch, and that's a great piece of art as well. So that is fantastic. So we have 6 figures in this set, ranging all the way from 100 tons down to 20 tons. We've got the King Crab, the Highlander, the Black Knight, the Exterminator, the Sentinel, and the Mercury. And, before we get into that, let's take a quick look at the cards. I am also trying some new things with my camera as far as focusing, so please bear with me. All right, so we've got our cards. Now, if you've not seen these before, the cards give you a few things. So, first off, you're going to get a name for the pilot. You're going to get a gunnery value and a piloting value. Those are important for the game. Basically, how good can you shoot? How good can you drive? Okay. They're also going to give a little bit of background. So the rank, what unit they're with, what the mech actually is. So in this case, we've got a king crab, and then just a short, sentence or two about their background. And then they also come with a special ability. So just something to make them a little bit more unique on the field. None of this is required to play. You can just go in with default values, and that's fine. But if you want a little bit of extra flavor, I do like that they gave these cards. Now, all of the cards are double-sided. So we've got Nigel Preston and Katarina Troth. Again, background, and in this case, she's got 2 abilities. We then have Alan Silka and Vivian Sobel in the Highlander. The Black Knight. The Exterminator. So all of these are going to be for ComStar. Because basically the story is that ComStar had these mechs all hidden away, and nobody in the Inner Sphere knew they still existed. So all of these cards are designed for ComStar. All right, so that is those. And then you also are going to get a card for each mech to be used in Alpha Strike. Now, if you're not familiar with Alpha Strike, it's sort of a rules light version of the game. Basically, just to make it a little faster, you can play with larger units. So you do get a card for each mech, and it has all of the relevant stats for Alpha Strike. It's also a nice, glossy texture, so if you have dry erase markers, you can go ahead and check stuff off that way. All right, so that is the cards that we get in this set. And all right, last thing, I probably should have said this earlier, but I didn't because, ADHD. But a big shout out to my friend Cliff, who purchased this for me as a gift. Wasn't for Christmas, wasn't for my birthday. It is because he is a fantastic person, and I have known him about as long as I've known Battletech, and I literally love the guy like a brother, and super excited to be able to look at this. Thanks to him. So, with that said, sorry for me getting a little emotional there, but let us, once I can figure out which screen to shift to. All right. Let us start looking at this. So our first one is our King Crab, first showing up in Tech Readout 2070, and this is a 100-ton mech. This is a beast. So first off, I do kind of like this old piece of art. This is the very, very first appearance in 2750. And it just, even here, even though it's a little more spindly, it definitely has that look of, just an initial concept sketch of the, of the engineer, trying to come up with something. It still looks menacing, even though it also looks like he's got a little bit of a smile. So it's a big mech, and even here it definitely looks like it. Now, this is the King Crab from, well, it was showing it, but now it's not. Okay, so this is Tech Readout 3025 revised. So this would have come out, well, I don't have the exact date on it, but this is obviously going to be early 2000s, I think. But they still keep some of the designs. It looks like it's got kind of like a fist here. We've got the crab claws. Basically the in-game universe reasoning is they're covers to protect the weapon systems, but they're making a mech called a King Crab. They have to give it pinchers, let's be honest. But then you still have kind of like, I know these aren't jump jets, but they sort of look like it. So kind of keeping with it, much bigger smile on this King Crab than on the last one. This is from Tech Readout 3039. So this was more of a consolidation. They took the 2750 mechs, the 3025 mechs, and kind of wrapped it all up into one book. This one, we're getting a little bit closer to the design that we've got today. Bit flatter, arms matching on both sides with the claws covering over the weapon systems. And none of this stuff is keeping the book stamps on here. Oh, wait, no, now I see it. All right, so this is from 3050 Upgrade. This was the revision of that book. So they commissioned some new art. This was from Battle of Tukiad. So this one is just again, it has kind of that Battlefield sketch to it. Just a kind of a weird looking piece of art, but looks like a big mean crab. And then we have this one. This is our Ill Clan Recognition Guide version of the mech. And this really does capture the piece, or the figure that we got. I will be honest, I really like this figure. I'm looking forward to painting it up. I know I keep saying that to almost all of the mechs that I have unboxed, but this is just a big, beefy, piece of metal that, the art absolutely captures it, and is a nice modern design of this figure. So looks great. All right, so that is the King Crab. Next one is going to be the Highlander. Now, this is part of the reason that Cliff got me this set, because he thinks everybody needs to have a Highlander. And, I mean, when you look at the mech, can you argue with him? So, let's look at some of the art. All right, so here is our 2750 Highlander. This is the one that kind of sticks in my head when I think of the Highlander. This was, I remember looking at this piece of art in high school, and the legs look a little weird, kind of round, and bubbly, but it's a big 90-ton mech, and it just looks mean. This is the which one was this? Okay, so this is Tech Readout 3025 revised. If you hadn't noticed, all the art is coming off of Sarna.net by way of the tech readouts. So absolutely check out that website. I totally recommend it. You will get lost in the wickiness of it. But not as big a fan of this piece of art. It kind of loses something. It looks small. Definitely not as good as the original piece of art, in my opinion. And then we've got 3039. Getting a bit closer to what we have now. Definitely an improvement over the original art, but not a downgrade, in my opinion, like the other one. All right, our 3050 upgrade. You can see the SRM6 in the arm. Again, still kind of holding to that original piece of art. And we then have this from the Day of Heroes scenario pack. So, kind of hard to tell that it's a Highlander, but, if you know what you're looking for, that right arm with the distinctive, cover plates, the kind of square head. This is from the Highlander, or the Northwind Highlanders scenario pack. This is a great piece of art. The Royal Black Watch, the parade, the parade organization, looks fantastic. I've always enjoyed this piece of art. And then we have our Ill Clan Recognition Guide version. This looks imposing. This looks like, it is going to end you. It's got the LRMs in the chest. It's got the lasers in the chest, the Gauss rifle in the right arm. I like what they did with the art, and I like what they did with the mech. I think it could be posed a little better. The arm is, as you can see, is kind of riding a little high, but overall, I'm honestly not complaining. I like the art, and I think they translated it into the figure really well. All right, then let's take our Highlander off, and then we have the Black Knight. Now this one, it's to me has always had just kind of an interesting look. One thing I had never noticed, this weapon here on the arm. So this is our 2750 version. Actually comes down off of just a support structure off the shoulder. and then the arm can move freely underneath it. Now they didn't keep that in the current iteration, but I still think it captures the feel. I think the new design very much looks like this original piece. Obviously some modern touches, but I do like the original piece. I don't know why, I've always liked the antennas coming off of the head, and I just think they add something to it. But then it's got the sort of knight's helmet look to its face. This is, I believe, 3025 upgrade. So again, you can see that support structure for the weapon and the free moving arm underneath. The 3039, much more, we'll call it knightly face. And then also the addition of these energy weapons in the chest. 3050 upgrade. Now this is from the Battle of Tukiad, so one of the ComStar versions. This one I think actually held up really well compared to the original art. Very, very good artist rendition on it. And then we've got our Ill Clan recognition guide. So they've clearly gone away from the support structure on the right arm, but then they've much more clearly defined the weapons in the chest. Overall, it's a good design. I don't think it's as good as some of the others. It just looks a little too bulky, sort of like he's wearing like an astronaut spacesuit. Even though it's a giant robot, but still a good mech and definitely a good look. I do know that there's another company with a contract to do like some alternate sculpts and alternate poses, and they did the Tukiad Black Knight, but I didn't look up that piece of art, and I'm not going to dig it up right now. But I will find that link and I will put it in the description. Alright, so that is the Black Knight. Our next one is the Executioner. So we've got our original 2750 art. I do remember this guy. The kind of the ridge line running down his chest. I've always, I distinctly remember noticing that. But not a bad piece of art. Seems a little off balance. Not sure it would quite be standing up like this. That legs extended a little oddly. But overall, again, going kind of that technical drawing, concept sketch kind of art. A friend of mine actually said that like he had a heart, like he really liked the new art, because it's a lot easier to get excited about it. He's like, you just don't get that same kind of excitement from the old tech readouts. And I agree with him to a point. The art's gotten way better. Especially when you consider like this one. This is the 3025 upgrade. But there is something about the old art. Like gaming has so much good art in it these days. But to me, like, you have to appreciate where the art came from. It's like this is the 3050 upgrade version of the Executioner. They've kept the art style pretty consistent on it. But I think it helps to remember where the art came from to be able to appreciate, how good it has gotten. What did we start with? Where are we going now? How is the industry improving? And, I think this speaks volumes. This is from the cover of the historical Operation Klondike. So this is basically the story of the clans having to retake the worlds of the Exodus. Basically, the clan civil war is a way to the founding of the clans and the Exodus civil war. That's what there we go. That's what I'll call it. But again, really good piece of art. This came out just a few years ago, but keeps that classic style, but definitely looks much newer, much more improved. And then this is our Ill Clan one. So this is another one that I'm going to say I don't like as much. It still has that ridge line down the front. It's just not quite as pronounced. So I think it takes a little away from its distinctive styling. But overall, I mean, I'm not really complaining. I try to not just sit here and be like, oh, this is great, this is awesome. So, try to point out some things that don't excite me as well. But again, it is a good piece of art. It's definitely improved, even if it's not necessarily one of my favorites. All right, so that is the Executioner. We've got two more. You've already been here for quite a bit longer than I tried to make these, but that's fine. It has more figures. I didn't control that. All right, so the next one on our list is the Sentinel. So this is our original 2750 art. This is another one of those that just jumps out at me as a memory from when I was a kid. It's a little thin, a little spindly as far as the legs go. But it's a 40-ton mech, so medium class, but on the lightest end. And just looks, it looks fast, it looks speedy, but it looks like it's going to find the other fast mechs and hurt them really bad with that gun in its arm. This is, I believe, this is the 3050 version. So when I thought I had to get all of the technical readouts, yes, I am happy I have all of the technical readouts, but I did not realize that they had moved the 2750 mechs into 3050, but here we go. So I do think this is an improvement. The legs still look a little thin to me, but they definitely look a little bit better. You can see the attachment point to the torso here. The gun, I do like that it's in a little bit of a different orientation. All right, this is from 3025 revised. So, not a fan of this art. Don't like this one. I think it's too simplified, and it looks like it's from a 70s cartoon. Just gonna say that straight up. So, sorry, artist. Nothing against you, but just not a fan of this one. And then we've got our, I think this is 3050. No, this is 3039. 3039. I don't know. Kind of loses some of its distinctiveness, in my opinion. This one, again, not as good. Not horrible, but definitely not as good. 3050 upgrade. Getting back to it, looks better. I like this one. And then we have our Ill Clan recognition guide. Now this, I think, is a fantastic redesign. It definitely looks different. It looks like it's been upgraded and changed fairly significantly, but I think it's for the better. I think they got a good piece of art. They got a really good artist, and I think they were respectful of where it came from, but we're able to keep some of the styling, the arm, or the natural, we'll call it natural arm. That's a horrible choice of words, but I'm going on the fly. And then the left gun arm. I like this design, and 100% approve of this one. All right, now for our last one. This is for the Mercury. Now, this guy was actually on the cover of 2750, and I was dumb enough to not get that piece of art. But you know what? Nope, they don't have it. Okay. Oh. Maybe I am wrong. I thought it was the Mercury. No, that is the... Okay, sorry for getting distracted. All over the place. Okay, I was mistaken. That is, I believe, the Hussar, and that'll be in the other box, I believe. But, all right, so the Mercury. This is the original Omni-Mech. The fluff story is that the weapon systems are entirely modular, so if one of them gets damaged, you can just pop it out and pop in a new one and get it back on the battlefield a lot earlier. So this was prior to 3050 coming out, so kind of leading customers as to where the game was going to go. Before my time, I technically did not get into the game until after 3050 had launched. But regardless, I kind of like this one. It definitely kind of has that test bed feel to it. Sort of looks a little alien as well. But regardless, I like it. It's a fun little 20-ton design. And again, this is one of those pieces of art that I just remember from back in the day. This is 3025 or 3050. Yeah, this is 3050. Much better version, but still basically kept that original piece of art, just kind of reposed it, in my opinion. Arm looks a little thin right here. Probably just a perspective issue, but no big deal. All right. 3039, I think. Nope, 3025 revised. So a little bit different of the profile. Looks weird the way the legs attach, but no big deal. 3050 upgrade. So again, holding actually back to that original piece of art. And then we get our Ill Clan recognition guide. Now, this one I do think, well, at least from this perspective on the art, it does look very different. And from this perspective, I'm actually not the biggest fan of the art, but I do still like the miniature. I like the way that it's posed. I think that it definitely implies the speed that a 20-ton mech has and the armament that that it's bringing to bear as well. So I like what they did here. It's a good looking figure. Overall, I actually think as an overall, these are some of the best figures in the line. The clan mechs, obviously the big stars really show out, but these are just such a small subset from the game that I think they put a little bit of extra care into the miniatures, and I really do like that. I like those redesigns, and there you go. So with that said, this video has already gone a little longer than normal, so I appreciate you giving me your time today. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, please do give the video a thumbs up. It does help with the search algorithm. And then also, like I said, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification so you can see when further videos come out. And then the last thing, I will have a link to Drive-Thru-RPG down in the comments, or not in the comments, in the description. If you are going to be buying your books in PDF, first off, I really like Drive-Thru-RPG. They have provided me with an affiliate link, but that's about it. And so it does give me a little bit of credit where I can use it towards, purchasing additional PDFs for reviews on the site. And so if you're going to buy it anyways, I'd appreciate it. But if you don't, regardless, I appreciate your time here today, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you for watching.